I love the term inviting the singing bowl to sing. You don't strike the bowl, you invite the bowl. I just love that term, inviting. And I invite you into my home. This is a different part of my apartment. It was suggested to me by a dear soul brother to maybe not sit behind the table and to move around a bit. So my apartment is quite small, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to honor that, but I thought I would, at least with this piece. And this piece is called We Resonate. Just like the singing bowl. That's a resonating sound. I was a fiber artist for many years and a quilter for just a little bit of that time. There are some traditional quilt blocks that I just absolutely love. I love Dresden Plate and Log Cabin Quilt. And that wasn't quite for me, doing block after block after block. But I loved it. I love those quilts. It just wasn't for me. And that's always important to know what doesn't resonate with you. I love looking at those quilts, but I don't enjoy making those quilts. So this piece is actually an encaustic wax piece. It's on a hard substrate, so this is a birch panel. And it's made with monoprints. So I've already talked about that process of how I make those papers that are monoprints. And then I cut them into shapes. And then I collage them with wax. So that it's really, really interesting, because when you are applying more heat to apply more wax to those monoprints, the prints that you've made on the paper kind of blend with the wax that you're applying. And those monoprints become something completely different. And then you layer those papers on top of each other. And then you get these patterns that blend together and these colors that blend together. And it absolutely fascinates me. So when I started this piece, it was very much in honoring those old traditional quilts that I love so much. Block after block after block after block. And then you have so many of those blocks, and they look beautiful en masse. But then thinking about layering that same shape over those blocks so that they intertwine. What does that look like? So then I started creating these other circles that were layering on top of circles, on top of circles, on top of circles. When I was also creating this piece, I was also thinking a lot about auras. And auras are said, our aura is said to extend 9 feet out. So when you are talking to somebody who's quite close, your auras are actually intertwined. Now in Kundalini Yoga, we wear white. And wearing white is said to expand your aura. So you're not just 9 feet, you're actually 12 feet out. So you have all these yogis who are in white, and we're expanding our auras out, radiating. And that's what we're here for, is we're here to radiate. Now you'll notice on my white shirt today that I have painted a heart, because our hearts don't necessarily need to hang out of our windows to say love to our neighbors and to our loved ones and to anyone who walks by our home. But we also have to keep reminding ourselves that we love ourselves. And how are you nourishing your soul at this time? How is your soul doing? Are you nourishing your body with good food, drinking lots of water, getting a little bit of exercise? How are you nourishing your body? Now, I must admit, I had the beautiful opportunity yesterday to take a hike out in a beautiful park in St. Catharines. It's called Short Hills. And I have spent hours upon hours upon hours at that park. And it is my sanctuary. That is, a lot of healing has been taking place for me in that forest. It feels like coming home for me. So I was in a very remote part of the park and happened to come across another couple. I was by myself, and we were on a very narrow part of the trail, and we didn't know what to do. We saw each other, and it was kind of like, oh, I can't walk near you. And it was like, wow, how our pattern has changed in such a short period of time. We can't hug people. We can't get close to people. We can't intertwine our auras at this time. We have to kind of keep a little self-contained, self-love at this time. And that's a very unusual pattern for us. We are not meant to be the lone wolf. We are meant to be in community. But, we still have this human desire to be in community. So you see, people are making videos. People are doing Zoom yoga classes. People are trying whatever means that they possibly can to connect. And how incredible is that? I'm just blown away at this time. This is just magical to see how creative people are in blending their auras without being in physical contact with each other. I have a dear, dear friend who is away at the moment, and I said to her that I would honor her and her husband by lighting a candle on my altar. And that's how I expand my aura with her, is just the thought of this candle representing her and her husband. So what can we do? Can we text that person that we haven't heard from in a while and just reach out and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. Are you doing okay? Or can we maybe think about sending a photo to somebody and say, remember this time? Remember we had this funny, funny time? I'm so looking forward to when we can do this again. We need to be taking care of ourselves. So I just want to show you a few things that might be able to help you. Okay? So I know we're spending a lot of time in our spaces, and maybe a little too much time on our couches, and maybe just a little too much time watching television, and we're feeling a lot of stiffness in our neck, okay? So I just want you to bring your hands together and intertwine your fingers. And then push those fingers away from you. And let's feel that beautiful stretch in our hands and in our wrists, because maybe we're spending just a little too much time on our computers, okay? And maybe let's just pull our arms so that we actually feel the ball come out of the socket just a little bit. Be careful with your shoulders always. But you know what I mean when they kind of come out of their sockets, and then we can actually pull them back in just to feel that. Maybe I'll come to the side. So, pull away and then pull back. Let's try that again. Pull away and pull back. How does that feel? Okay? Now, let's take an inhale together and raise our arms up above our crown. So, and I don't know if the camera picked that up, but my shoulders went snap, crackle, pop. Okay, and let's again stretch those arms up, and then let's pull them back. And almost feeling like our shoulder wings, our shoulder blades are like meeting each other and touching each other. What does that feel like? Okay. And then maybe let's bring some awareness into our side bodies, okay? So our obliques here. Stretching up and away. And to whatever side feels comfortable, just kind of leaning into that stretch. Okay? So we're feeling our obliques here. We're also feeling this side. And let's inhale and come back to center, to the midline, and the opposite side of what you've leaned into, okay? How does that feel? Are we feeling our obliques on this side? And can we create a bit of space in between our shoulders and our neck? Let's not get all crunched up, okay? Maybe even think about tucking our chin in. And inhale and come to center. Let's bring the hands down and unlock that bind. Now let's just rub the hands together. Yes, we're warming the hands, but we're doing so much more because our hands are all these beautiful energy centers. Really, really important centers on our hands. So we're actually creating this incredible energy between our fingers and our hands. And if you're able to do this first thing when you wake up and rub your hands really, really briskly and your feet at the same time, it actually improves your mood because you're stimulating a lot of the pituitary gland in your head, and it actually improves your mood for the day. So start your day by rubbing your hands briskly together and your feet briskly together. Now let's bring our hands. We've generated some heat in our hands. Let's bring that beautiful energy to our eyes, okay? So just covering our eyes with the palms and just soaking in that incredible energy that we have created with our own hands. And how does that feel for you? How does that feel to just take a breath? Maybe a long, deep breath. And just bathe in that incredible energy that you've just created for yourself. And maybe let's just bring that down to the throat. Bring that beautiful energy to our voices, to remind ourselves to be kind to one another this time. Let's speak kindness. Let's speak love. Let's speak compassion at this time. Let's again generate a bit more energy into our hands, that feel-good energy, sparking all those centers in our hands. And let's bring that to our hearts. Our hearts are going through a lot at this time. Let's remember to protect our hearts, to nourish our hearts, and to always send love to ourselves, you know? Bathe yourself in sunlight. Nourish your soul, maybe with some beautiful music. Nourish your mind by maybe reading that book that you've always wanted to read but never had time. Take good care of yourself. I've been taking good care of myself by indulging in a few naps. Just to be reading and allow my eyes to just flutter close. And just know that I don't have to rush anywhere. I don't have to be anywhere. I can just have a nap when I feel I need a nap. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. And may you be filled with peace and be at ease. Until the next time. Take care.